Thank you. We now are very honored to invite Beth Power, the curator of the Sexual Minorities Archive, to say some words.
I am a transgender man, first of all. Second of all, before I forget to say the thought that's in my mind, is that Leslie, let Leslie teach us white people how to deny and give up white privilege, to absolutely refuse white privilege, and to share spaces where privilege walks with people of color, and to forward people of color before ourselves. I wanted to bring you the news that I'm the curator of the Sexual Minorities Archives, which is the national LGBTQI archives, 40 years old. Leslie had been to the archives many years ago to do book signing. In June last year, the archives, which is housed in Western Massachusetts, was told that we were being evicted, and had been in this location for 32 years. I'm poor, I'm disabled, and I didn't know what to do, so I started to reach out. Less than 2 months later, started to do community fundraising. Less than 2 months after I started to cry out for help to try to buy the archives house, or a better one, Leslie, August 15th, 2014, sent word through an email to through Minnie Bruce. I want to read parts of it. And Leslie made a note to say, can be quoted publicly. Dear Minnie Bruce Pratt, I'm writing to you as a board member of the Sexual Minorities Educational Foundation. This letter and proposed contribution are all I can do in the urgent and important effort to build a secure and permanent home for this precious community-based archive. I have a lot of respect for and conceptualization of the SMA. Since I can't fundraise for anyone or any struggle right now, I've thought a lot about how I might make a unique donation that demonstrates my strong support for the community-based archives. I would like to offer to donate my entire personal research library, books about sexes, gender expressions, and sexualities within the context of nationality and class. This includes scientific books, books about sexes, gender expressions, sexualities. I offer to make this donation to the SMA in hopes that it will add to the value of the SMA holdings. Included was a piece that maybe among the last pieces written by Leslie, dated August 15th, can be quoted publicly, entitled, My Personal Research Library. As a child, I sought out my first library card at age 4. This is a quote from Leslie. As soon as I could print my name. Librarians told me to come back when I could write my name in script. I had my first library card in a week. I was a very frequent visitor. But in the almost half century I've spent as an adult, I've never had a single library card. I never had the identity papers necessary in order to get one. I had no access to university libraries. I sought out books, magazines, and other materials. This personal library was my only access. And so whenever I had to move from one apartment to another, which was frequent in some periods, I sometimes left behind lamps or dishes but I always took my books. This personal research library contains all the books that I had collected and carried through my adult life and was still working on up until I was felled by an acute and chronic stage of illnesses on October 21, 2007. Two days after Leslie passed, I wrote this. Remembering Les. The first time Leslie Feinberg and I saw each other was in the early 1990s. Les was standing at a podium, a large crowded campus lecture hall at Amherst College. It was minutes before Les began his presentation about trans people in history. I was climbing down a row of steep stairs to get a good seat at the front. I came dressed for the occasion, wearing a three-piece dark blue suit, white shirt, cufflinks, and tie. Les looked up at me and said proudly into the microphone, "Welcome, brother. You sure look good in that suit." I didn't know him yet. I looked around at the vast sea of mainly cisgender students and professors in the audience, and I counted on less than 2 hands those of us there who were trans. It seemed to me that the first words Les ever said to me were intentional, affirmative, and clear. They were meant directly for my uplift, to put me at ease and salute my masculine gender presentation with respect in front of others, to acknowledge me as kin in a world of majority-dominant gender conformity. Just 2 years I had lost Lou Sullivan as my first trans brother to AIDS. Another trans brother had just stepped into my life, Leslie Feinberg. Not long after that evening, Les worked with me on my page in Transgender Warriors, an entry that documents my work on building the Sexual Minorities Archives, and starting in 1992, the East Coast F to M group. When this first ever trans history book was published, Les sent an inscribed copy to me. On the front page, Les had written, quote, "To my brother Bet, a strong, proud trans warrior, it's an honor to include you where you belong as a leader in history." Les, me, the discarded one, exiled by my family of origin and freakified by society, a leader in history. That was a good one, Les. Another time I was standing by a stage set up near the White House for a mass protest against the U.S. war on Iraq. I noticed Les waiting to climb the stairs up to the stage. It was her turn to speak. And I stood close to her and I said, "Les, can you believe what our country is doing to the people of Iraq? It's insanity. Haven't generations learned anything?" Les came down from the stairs. They were waiting for Les to speak. And Les said to me, "It's because you have principles and integrity, Bet, in a world that does not." More recently, in a letter sent to me via Minnie Bruce, Les wrote, "I have a lot of respect for the conceptualization of the Sexual Minorities Archives, and I have a lot of respect for its curator, Bet Power. I am very moved to see how hard Bet is fighting for a permanent, secure home for the SMA, fighting against eviction, fighting while disabled." There it was again, respect. To a trans man, this is something as bright, valuable, and rare as gold. Respect. For a long time, after learning about Leslie's death, All I could say and repeat again and again in my archives to people who came was, no! No is the word that best describes Leslie's entire life. And defiant, courageous activism. Respect. Now, that's the word that best describes Leslie's love. Thank you.